How many of you remember my story about the fat cat versus the skinny chicken? Good morning, good afternoon. This is Jan. And good evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money More Jan channel. Years ago, I've been on here a little while now, okay? I've been on this platform going on 7 years in July. Okay, that's quite a while. Yes, it is. And throughout the years, I would talk about the story of the fat cat versus the skinny chicken. Many people in the beginning time of the month, they when they have their money, their main source of income, especially folks on fixed income. I call it the beginning of the month. It could be the middle of the month for that person. I don't know when their money's come in, so I'll just call it the beginning of the month. Put it this way, that is their fat cat time of the month. That's when the eagle flies and the money's all over the place, and nobody really thinks down the road towards the end of that cycle in those instances. And that's the skinny chicken time of the month. That is not a fun time of the month for those that don't plan ahead. This is why I say do this early in the month to avoid stressful ends of the month. Do what early in the month? Think ahead. Think ahead towards the next 4 weeks, particularly when it comes to having food in the freezer, in your refrigerator, in your pantry. And usually I call this Stockpile Friday, but when I mention stockpile, a lot of people right away think of, the longer term, pantry for, future use, like really down the pike. But let's talk about just 1 month. This time around, I just want to talk about 1 month. Let's talk about this month. Do you know anyone who kind of sort of lives that fat cat versus skinny chicken kind of month? Like the eagle flies, everything's good to go, and life feels normal for about 10 to 15 days. I call that possibly, not for all cases, so please don't misunderstand me. But in my mind's eye, I call it mismanagement of grocery budget. And that's all it is. That's all it is. And also, not making the most of what we have already cooked. Now, oftentimes, I consider myself, all the time actually, the CEO of my kitchen. I'm in charge. I'm in charge of the groceries. I'm in charge of the inventory. How many of you listening can relate to that? Are you in charge mainly at home? Okay. Listen, since we are in charge, we need to do our very best, right? And with some prices still, no comment other than some prices are still very much through the roof. I don't, I, it is my hope everything gets better. Again, I'm a hopeful individual, but the reality is there are still some really high prices. And if your income doesn't work with that, got to do things, of course, which I go into in every other video about bringing in more income and cutting back, because there are only two choices: bring in more income or cutting back. But today we want to talk about living on an even keel. You can even live, in my honest opinion, we can live on an even keel, even with a smaller amount. We just have to maximize what we do with what we have. What is your grocery budget? Do you have a grocery budget? Some people don't. They just, like they're those flying balloons going here, there, and everywhere, drifting all over the place. And when they get the main source of income, it's all fun and games for about 10 days with food. Then you look in your pantry, you go. Then you look in your wallet, and worse than there's like I can't do much about it. Right? Not good. Not good at all whatsoever. So what we need to do is take numbers, divide them up by the 4 weeks of the month, get organized. I'm getting an alert on my computer that I'm getting low on my disk space. I can't continue this too much longer, but I could pick it up in the future. But work with what we have as best as we could. If your budget, you came to the conclusion it's $200 a month for food, $50 worth of groceries per week. Okay? Make foods that you can share a lot. Foods that are water-based, meals that are water-based, stews. I know it's getting into the warm weather. Figure out maybe some big old salads that you could figure out, canned goods that you could figure out, but take what you have and make the very best of it. Unfortunately, because of the low disk space, which I have to check into that technical problem, I do have to go. But please, plan early in the month so that you have an even nice end of the month where you're not scratching your head figuring out what meals to make. That is an awful place to be.